What if they lose? Like we said, guys, the Pittsburgh Steelers are currently on a 4-game losing streak. 4-game losing streak. They lost to the Eagles, which, by the way, is a playoff team. They lost to the Ravens, which, by the way, is a playoff team. They lost to the Kansas City Chiefs, which, by the way, is a playoff team. 3 of those games were in like 11 days. And then they did lose to the Cincinnati Bengals, right? Or sorry, then they lost, then they lost to the Bengals, which was a team fighting for their playoff lives. And I said it, the Pittsburgh Steelers will probably be a more dangerous 5 seed or 6 seed as a 3 seed. They saw it coming like, hey, you know what, Buck, you're right. Let's be a 6 seed. So they lost that final game. Guys, the Pittsburgh Steelers had a great first half of the season. Justin Fields held his own, while Russell Wilson was injured with that calf on the sideline. He was 4-2 as a starter. Russ, first game, was versus the New York Football Giants. They came in and won that game. Then they won 4 games in a row after that. He was actually 6-7 before their 4-game losing streak, their current 4-game losing streak. In the process, guys, Mike Tomlin did get yet another non-losing season as the NFL head coach. But, guys, the question is, if the Pittsburgh Steelers lose this game, who is to blame? When we look at this game, can we say that Russell Wilson lost the game? Can we say that the defense lost the game? Can we say that Mike Tomlin lost the game? Who is to blame? And when you think about this, Russell Wilson has not been that great the last 4 games. Let's just be honest. So far this season, he has under 2,500 yards passing. Granted, he's only played 9 games, but still under 2,500 yards passing. He has 16 touchdowns to just 5 interceptions. In the last 4 games versus the Eagles, he had 128 yards passing. 217 versus the Baltimore Ravens, 205 versus the Kansas City Chiefs, and 148 versus the Cincinnati Bengals, with an average QBR of 37.3. Those are the last 4 losses. In the last 4 wins, he has 158 yards passing versus the Cleveland Browns. Sorry, James, but they did beat the Browns. Then they had 414 yards versus the Cincinnati Bengals. Then he had 205 versus the Ravens and 195 versus the Commanders with an average QBR of 75.7. So when we look at the blame game, right, Russell Wilson has kind of been pretty set par most of the season. Yes, his QBR went from 75 when winning down to 37 while losing, but the yardage-wise kept pretty on point. So if the Steelers were to lose this game, as long as Russ does his 180, 190 yards, bada boom, you cannot blame Russ. That's what I'm saying. But then, look at the rushing attack. When you look at the rushing attack, in the last 4 games, the last 4 losses, right, the highest rusher had 14 yards versus the Eagles. Ouch. 48 yards versus the Ravens, which was Warren. 74 yards versus Kansas City Chiefs, which was Najee Harris, and 36 yards versus the Bengals. In the last 4 wins, 53 yards versus the Browns, 75 yards versus the Bengals, 63 versus the Ravens, and 66 versus the Commanders. So rushing attack has been pretty much on point, right? Yes, Eagles fan, I am looking, but right now I'm speaking my thoughts. And then when you look at the defense, right? The defense, the last 4 losses, they've given up 19 points to the Bengals, 29 points to the Chiefs, 34 points to the Ravens, and 27 points to the Eagles. And the last 4 wins is 14 points to the Browns, 38 points to the Bengals, 16 points to the Ravens, and 27 to the Commanders. So when we look at this game moving forward, everybody has been kind of playing status quo except for the defense. Guys, if the Pittsburgh Steelers were to lose this game to the Baltimore Ravens on Super Wildcard Weekend on Saturday night at 8 p.m. East Coast time, I'm going to have to blame the defense. The defense is what is going to make or break their Super Bowl run. The defense, guys, I've been saying this since June. The defense is great. The defense is top notch. The defense is top 10. All they need is a quarterback that doesn't suck. Russ has not been sucking. They have a rushing game. The rushing game is not prolific by any stretch of the imagination, but it's still up there. But the defense has given up a lot of points in this 4-game losing streak. It is what it is. Now, the defense did not look that terrible versus the Bengals, but But still got to step up. So, guys, if the Steelers were to lose to the Baltimore Ravens on Saturday, who is to blame? I have to say the defense, guys. So, who is your X factor? Who do you think is going to get the blame if the Pittsburgh Steelers lose on Saturday? And Jim says it's going to be Russell's fault. It's going to be Russell Wilson's fault. And honestly, Jim, you are probably correct. Quarterback of the team, whatever, Russell Wilson's fault, right? Can we maybe start to blame Arthur Smith a little bit for Russell Wilson's downfall the last three or four games? Maybe Arthur Smith is not putting his quarterback in the best position. Richard Lopez, the Steelers trash. Come on, brother. I'm not saying the Steelers are like trash. Richard, I had the Pittsburgh Steelers as my Super Bowl team earlier this season. Hell, just a month ago, I had them as my Super Bowl team. Now I've slowly backed off of that, and I've slowly jumped off the wagon, and the wagon is still within reach. I can still maybe grab it and pull myself back on, but I'm not calling the Steelers trash. I'm not calling the Steelers trash. I just want to say that. And Laura says, I hope the Steelers take that big fat L. Slow it down, Laura. Stop the hate. And Alpha Rob says, if they lose, Tomlin has to be the blame. No playoff wins since Big Ben and Peyton played. And Alpha Rob, you might be correct on this one. You might be so much correct that I would say if Mike Tomlin does lose it, or the Pittsburgh Steelers do lose this game, Mike Tomlin might be out as the Pittsburgh Steelers head coach next season via trade. Eagles fan 26 says, who do you think will win the Super Bowl? And I believe it's the Kansas City Chiefs, not the Eagles, not the Lions, not the Vikings. It's the Kansas City Chiefs. Eagles fan says they aren't playing Russell Wilson versus the Ravens. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. And they said they announced Justin Fields will be quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers this time. No, they will not. Russell Wilson is the starter. It's simple as that. Russell Wilson is a starter. Now, I'm not saying Justin Fields may not get a series, may not get some more packages, but Eagles fan 26, you do understand that Justin Fields has been nursing an injury, right? Since the Eagles game, he has been nursing an injury. I don't know what I think it was his hamstring or an ankle, something on the lower part of the body besides his vagina, but you understand that Russell Wilson is the starter. The reason that I know this is because Justin Fields was 4-2 as a starter. Justin Fields was healthy. Russell Wilson became healthy, became 100%, and Mike Tomlin says, hold my beer, Russell Wilson, you are in there. A move that everybody questioned. Everybody's like, really? You're going to do that? You're going to do that? What? Everybody questioned it. Now, a lot of us ate crow. I ate crow. I was like, this is dumb. Why are you doing this? 4-game winning streak later, whatever. Justin Fields is not starting. William says it will be Boswell's fault for getting sick the night before when we need him the most. I think Boswell is the leading scorer for the Pittsburgh Steelers this season. And honestly, William, if it becomes a field goal battle, if both defenses are balling out, holding teams out of the end zone, they can get to the red zone, but keeping them out of the end zone, Pittsburgh Steelers got a hell of an advantage, right? Which is weird because the Baltimore Ravens kicker was one of the best kickers in the NFL. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if his wife's cheating on him or like what, but he is a head case right now at 100%, and Boswell will definitely be your X factor. James Frank says Tomlin got his winning season, so that's all, folks. That's all Tomlin cares about, right? Is getting that 9 wins, and I'm done, baby. Another successful season. One more. Laura says, making snow ice cream. That's weird. Eagles fan says, if George Pickens plays the same he did against the Bengals, I will blame him. How about this? If George Pickens plays at all, the Pittsburgh Steelers lose. George Pickens is a cancer, y'all. I understand that when I say that, I get blamed as poor medial journalism or whatever. I didn't go to school to do this shit. I went to school to do IT stuff, right? I went to school to become a business IT person, right? I don't care about your journal integrity. George Pickens is a cancer. Simple as that. I see it. George Pickens is a cancer, 100%. James Frank says, we all thought Wilson would be benched. Maybe they were all right. Just predicted the time frame wrong. Russell Wilson's not getting benched. He'd be playing all game long. Eagles fan, is he even looking at the chat or just talking? I am looking at the chat. The chat's right here on my right-hand side of my screen. My notes are right here on the left side of the screen. I see it all. Baby. This is a live, interactive show, live, raw, uncut NFL talk. You will not get this anywhere else, Eagles fan. I have been on other shows, right? And where I'm commenting and they just skim over the comments and don't even look at them, right? This is live, interactive. We have a conversation. I see it all. We do. Man, we may not go into deep into every comment, but we do see it all. We bring up every comment. We do try to answer each and every comment. Richard Lopez says, yes, he's looking. Eagles fans, I swear. Oh, Chargers fans, I swear. Eagles fans says the defense didn't do that bad last week. They didn't do great, but they didn't do bad, right? Russell Wilson was terrible last week. Yes. What was the total that he had? What was the yards that he had? What was it? 148? Is that what I remember? Yeah, 148. Yeah. And I believe his QBR was only like 32 or 33. So he definitely wasn't good. I mean, honestly, that whole game, the Pittsburgh Steelers looked very, very uninspired to do well, right? I think in the back of their mind that they were going to get the 5th seed and they're going to play the Houston Texans and have a nice little cakewalk, right? I thought they thought that was going to happen. Unfortunately, Chargers won. They dropped down to a 6th seed and now they got to play the Ravens. But they did not want to be there. I'm just saying, they did not want to be there. They just announced that Justin Fields is starting. All right, Eagles fan, I have a script that I wrote that pulls up every tweet from around the NFL. So all 32 NFL teams brings it up. So I have about 50 missed text or missed tweets that I have not seen. A lot of them are like the same, but I'm down here to number 48. The most newest text was sending our love, thoughts, and prayers to the people that is impacted by the city of Los Angeles wildfires. This is from the NFL Players Association. I see nothing about Justin Fields starting. Breaking news, Vikings and Rams wildcard game will be moved to Arizona. And Travis Kelce says, I ain't scared of nobody, meaning the Cincinnati Bengals. Nothing about Justin Fields starting. Nothing. So come on, stop with that fake news. Chargers go with that number 1 defense. Just saying. The Chargers do not have the number 1 defense. I'm just saying. They have a number 1 scoring defense, but they don't have the number 1 defense. Slow it down, Richard. Slow it down. And Derek says Russ is to blame. Not Najee, not the defense, not Mike Tomlin. Russell Wilson will be the blame. Probably right. And Richard Lopez says, whoa, slow it down, baby. You had the Steelers winning, but you're a Chiefs fan? How? Please explain. So, Richard, this was back when the Pittsburgh Steelers, so earlier this season, back in June and July, when we did our preseason breakdown, I said the Pittsburgh Steelers are one of the best teams in the NFL. They have a great defense. They have a great running game. They have a good receiving core. All they need is a quarterback that doesn't suck. Insert Justin Fields, Russell Wilson, right? The quarterbacks that's not going to suck. Most of the season, first 12, 13 weeks, they did not suck at all. And as a Kansas City Chiefs fan, Richard, this was the only team that I was afraid of in the playoffs was the Pittsburgh Steelers. Because I thought they were going to be a 5th seed, right? They were going to be a 5th seed, so the Chiefs would have had to play them in the divisional round. Now, obviously if everything holds par, the Steelers win, they'll still play the Kansas City Chiefs in the divisional round. At this particular point, 25 days off for the Kansas City Chiefs, right? Patrick Mahomes has not played football in 25 days. Actually, it'll be more than, it'll be right at 25 days when this game happens. Rusty, right? Pittsburgh Steelers coming off of a big win. Russell Wilson's been there, done that, won the big game. If I'm not mistaken, every time Russell Wilson wins a wild card game, he goes to the Super Bowl. I was worried about that. And I thought that could happen because I was worried about the defense. Also, at the time, the Kansas City Chiefs were just, they were winning. They were playing good, but it wasn't dominant. So, I was on that Steelers bandwagon. I loved it. I loved it. Laura says, in my opinion, neither team deserves to be in the playoffs. She says, I'm going to support my daughter, says Laura. As a Bengals fan, the Bengals should be in the playoffs, not the Steelers, not the Ravens. Laura's saying that the Bengals should be in the playoffs because they won 4 games in December. Yay. Too bad they couldn't win games in November or October or September or August, right? They just had to wait till December. If the Bengals would have beaten the Patriots week 1 like they were supposed to, they would have been in the playoffs. I'm just saying. And Alpha Rob says if Wilson doesn't turn the ball over like he did last game versus the Ravens, he'll be fine. And Alpha Rob, you are 100% correct because that was the game changer of that whole Ravens-Steelers game back, 3-4 weeks ago, right? They went for it on 4th down. They missed it. No. Let me step back. Two steps back. Lamar Jackson throws a interception in the red zone. Pittsburgh Steelers pick it off. I believe it was a tied game at this point. Was it 10-10 or 6-6 or something? Just like that. Very next play, I actually tweeted like, "Oh, this could be a game changer for Lamar Jackson throwing the interception." Right. Very next play, Russell Wilson throws a pick 6. The route was on. What was the final score? 31-17. The route was on. And Derek says, I wanted to see Denver versus Pittsburgh. Wasn't going to happen. And Jim brings the biggest facts out here. He says, all Chargers fans are AI. They are AI. Porter says, are you ready for the NFL playoffs? I am. I don't like Week 18. Week 18 kind of sucks. Give me some playoffs, baby. Give me some playoffs. Eagles fan 26 says he has made some incredible catches, but holy blank, he dropped so many catches. He has definitely dropped a lot of catches this season, I'm just saying. And Porter says, oh, I'm sorry for this, but the Ravens are going to win. The Steelers and the Ravens are much better. 35-20 Ravens. Should. 35-26. No, 36-26. Yes, this chat is delayed.